Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon? As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this new banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. So let's get right into this Rate Up banner featuring the launch of the latest new original characters from Langrisser Mobile. Or, well, alts of characters originally from Langrisser Reincarnation Tensei. Emperor Lovina and the Saint of the Ark. This banner will run from February 24th to March 9th, and as a rate-up banner, you have a 40% chance to get each on-banner character, with the remaining 20% reserved for any other hero in the regular summoning pool. First up, we've got Emperor Lovina. The alternative future version of Ares, Emperor Lovina is a kind of all-purpose physical DPS with some single target and some AoE functionality. He has Air Slash, Sun Slash, Sword Soul, and Sword Dance, some normal stuff, and he also has Indomitable for Revive. His unique skill is a single target ranged attack that lets him attack first if he has more mobility than his target. But it doesn't ignore guard or anything, and lots of enemies have a lot of mobility. His 3-cost skill does a hefty 0.44 times AoE burst in a 2-tile radius around him, and it also inflicts enemies with a debuff that causes them to take fixed damage that increases the more they move. Kind of like a flipped version of Autocrato's Taunt. Alright, I'm talking about his talent last because it has the most noteworthy effect. For every nearby ally, he gets a boost to his damage dealt, that's fine. When ending his turn, he gets the opportunity to teleport multiple allies. He can pick up to 2 allies from within 4 tiles of his current position, and teleport them up to 2 tiles away from their current positions. Lovina himself gets a boost to his own mobility after using the teleport. So it's not the kind of dynamic playmaking long-range teleport that we're used to, but it can be great for tactical repositioning, or helping slower units keep up with the tank, or to fix mistakes. This teleport goes on a 4-turn cooldown after using it. Alright, for his factions, his name is Emperor, so I think you know what's coming. He's a member of Protagonists, buffed by Matthew and Emperor Lovina, Langrisser Reincarnation, buffed by Ares and Hilda, and Strategic Masters, buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford. Yeah, he's not in Empire's honor. So this is the final piece of the puzzle. He finally gives us the long-awaited second faction buff for Protagonists. This one increases damage dealt when entering combat by 12% and grants an extra 5% on top of that for allies who are within 3 spaces of him. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for the upcoming new Dragon class character Oboro, and for his own bonds he needs Elma for his defensive bond and Ares for his attack bond. If you don't have them, they're both conveniently coming back on a Valentine's event banner in June. For content in PvE, he should be good against Phoenix because he can buff the team and then have everyone sit around him, occasionally teleporting people either out of danger or towards the pesky Sheikah ads. He's also on faction for Hugin and Munin and Sleipnir in Ancient Beckoning. Although you'll easily be able to fit him into an S-rank team for Sleipnir, I don't think he'll make a big dent in the meta leaderboarding teams. Like any character though, he'll be just fine for general PvE stuff. He hits stuff. That's basically all you need. On the PvP side, he's fine, but he's not a must-have game changer like some of the recent meta-dominant units like Lucretia or Watham have been. He can be helpful for specific kinds of boxes though, like AoE-based tank push boxes, where he can shuffle people into position, give and receive benefits for everyone being close together, and chip in with some follow-up himself. Alright, let's move on to the Saint of the Ark. The alternative future version of Licorice, the Saint of the Ark is another AoE debuffer. Her talent causes her to inflict a debuff on enemies she damages, and to inflict a debuff on enemies who attack her. She has some standard Bosley stuff like Dark Reaper, Black Hole, and Sleep, but her signature skill is her transformation, which turns her into a demon version of herself for 3 turns. For the first 2 turns, you get to control her, and she gets an increase to damage dealt and mobility, and inflicts 2 additional debuffs on enemies she damages. Wait a minute, what do I mean by you get to control her? Well, on the last turn of her transformation, she just stands there, and then she hits a huge hashtag formation in every direction around her with a bunch of AoE damage and debuffs. Even her allies, she blows up your team. She gives you 3 debuffs. Her 3-cost skill is a pretty vanilla 3-line AoE spell that causes a couple debuffs. The gimmick with this one is that if she's transformed into her demon mode, any holy class enemy that gets hit will also be transformed into demon class for 2 turns. So this allows you to do some meme, anti-demon bullying stuff on them. She's a member of Protagonists, buffed by Matthew and Emperor Lovina, Princess Alliance, buffed by Luna, Shelfaniel, and Christiane, and Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees. For bonds, she doesn't currently roadblock any other character's bonds, although that seems likely to change in the future, given how much importance Zilong seems to be putting on these new post-Tensei alts for the future of the Act 3 storyline. We'll see. For her own bonds, she needs Licorice for her defensive bond and Florentia for her attack bond. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar and Phoenix in the Eternal Temple, and Hugin and Munin, Fenrir, and Needhog in Ancient Beckoning. Just like Lovina for Sleipnir, you'll be able to fit the Saint into a Fenrir team and get an S rank with her spinning 3 AoEs. Maybe she'll also see some use in some challenge where it benefits you to change an enemy into a demon and then wail on it with Shelfaniel or something. Honestly, Dark Reincarnation and Mythical Realm have a lot of AoE debuffers, but Protagonists and Princess Alliance kind of don't, so maybe that will be her main use, by bringing some debuffing for players who main those factions in PvE modes. On the PvP side, you know how much you love counting tiles to make sure you won't end up in the enemy's danger zone after a surprise breeze or act again? Well, now you get to count tiles to make sure your own units don't blow you up. She doesn't do anything that several other units don't already do better, so she's not really a high priority PvP unit. Anyway, here's the quick and dirty. We've got Emperor Lovina, who has the occasional tactical teleport, a new faction buff for Protagonists, and he unlocks the defensive bond for the upcoming Oboro. And we've got Saint of the Ark. Remember in Final Fantasy Tactics when you'd group your whole team up and they'd all hit each other to gain experience? Well, that doesn't work in Langrisser. Alright, let's move on to the notes for noobs. Emperor Lovina is a safe skip unless you want Oboro bonds in 5 months, or if you're set on using Protagonists for some reason. Or if you're planning on running a very specific kind of Apex Arena box, but if those are your plans, then you probably already know what you're doing and you can make them work for you. The only real reason to pull for the Saint of the Ark is if she's your waifu. Waifus overrule logic, so fill your boots. Finally, just my usual reminder about upcoming banners. Next week we should be getting a banner with Omega and Christiane, so if you missed your previous chance to pick up a powerful meta tank and Princess Alliance faction buffer, then that'll be the banner for you. The week after that, assuming we follow what happened on Chinese servers, we should be getting a Record of Lodos War rerun. It's always nice to have another chance to get some extremely limited units, even if they're not as useful as they used to be. So that means we'll get more free shards for Parn and Pirates too. And that's all for now, so that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, as always, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Shout out to Levitt, Derek Gunderson, William Householder, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Eden Seal, Jerome Meyer, and Shara Ilimerius. Thank you so much for your help, everyone.